Hi, welcome to Matt's Garage. Today I'm sort of buttoning up a chassis issue, which is the hubs. This applies to Scouts and Jeeps and older 4x4s that have a lockout hub that look like, like that. Like a Warn or Yukon, any of these lockout hubs. The problem is the hub housing, which looks like that. Focus. The bolts tend to back out of where it bolts onto the bearing housing. This is especially true if you have a traction device in your differential, so a limited slip or a locker. I have Auburn Pro limited slips front and rear with 411 gears in the Dana 44s in my Scout, but again, this applies to any of the Dana family, Dana 30 front ends on the Jeeps. In fact, the Dana 30 sort of outer is the same as the Dana 44 outers on the Scouts. So the trick is we're going to use studs. So I went to the local hardware store. These are kind of expensive, but you can get them. Focus. Not my face, dude. Focus on the stud. The trick is you get these studs. This is a 1 3/4 inch with 3/8 threads, coarse on both sides. Fine would be better. They just didn't have them at my hardware store. And I'm gonna change the camera angle. We're gonna zoom in. I'm gonna take you through the process of converting from bolts to studs on your hub. The first thing we're gonna do is take this polycarbonate disc here. Focus, please. And we're gonna use this to abrade the mating surface to get it a clean surface for the RTV. And then by hand, I'm gonna take a Scotch-Brite pad and just clean up this equivalent surface. There's an O-ring right here that rides on the inside lip of this, and you don't want to nick this, so I'm just gonna do this one by hand. Also, that stuff throws a lot of stuff everywhere, so just take a paper towel and really get all that junk off of your splines. Basically want a clean surface on this flange and a clean surface on this inner lip. Okay, now I've got the hubs nice and clean. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I wiped out the excess grease. We are going to grease this again, but very lightly. You definitely don't want to pack this with grease. It will basically create a pressure pocket and it won't engage and disengage properly, and you'll blow the hub prematurely. Now for the studs. For the studs, we're going to use the blue Loctite. You can use red, but I don't have that much confidence and I don't want to have to redo this. So blue is a little less permanent. You don't run the risk of having to put heat in to make it work. So I'm gonna run with the blue, I think. What's interesting is these studs are going in at different depths, even though they're pretty much identical. So don't know what's up with that. But what I'm going to do is grab a couple of nuts and put them on here, try to get them a little deeper. Just want them to be even. I'm not going to put it in all the way because there's an O-ring I don't want to catch. I just want to make sure this is going to go over. And it looks like it is, so that's good. I'm going to get a little bit of oil the O-ring. Actually, I'll probably oil inside the surface with some gear oil, and then RTV here, and then I'll put them on and tighten up. Okay, again, just the lightest bit of gear oil. I really only want it on the inside surface. I don't want it where the RTV is going. I'm doing very, very thin. I do not want this very gooped up. And again, it's really just to keep the dust out. It's not holding liquid in. there's a groove at the end of the axle here that houses the snap ring. Now I'm going to put just a light bit of grease around the spindle, sorry, around the splines of the axle, just to keep that in good working order. Slide the hub on. Okay. Alright, that's all in. Now, to secure this, I'm going to use lock nuts. And I'm hoping the use of lock nuts, these aren't nylock, these are the mechanical locking nuts because they're slightly out of round, so they pinch the edge of the stud when they go on. Okay, there's one or two threads sticking out, so I'm comfortable with that. And I'm hoping that that solves the problem of that backing out. Actually, this gasket's not in terrible shape, so I'm just going to reuse it. Oh, I forgot to put a little bit of grease, just a little bit of grease on. So why only a little, Matt? Because this is not a moving part. I mean, it slides, but it's not a bearing. It's not rolling and creating a ton of heat, or at least it should not be. So that's about all you really need. You could even, I hear guys using gear oil for that. Your choice. I'm not going to judge. I'm sure I'm going to get torched by some axle gurus for this video, but hey, if it gives you the confidence to work on your own junk, that's good. Okay, that's that. And you put the little screws in. You don't want to put Gorilla torque on these, man. These are not large fasteners, you know, just snug them up. And then, you know, when you're off-roading, you want to have at least the socket size to tighten those up, and the right Allen wrench to snug these up. And you just check them before you go off-roading, and then maybe once at lunch, and then once when you get off the trail before you hit the highway. So that's it, that's one side done. I'm gonna do the other side, but I hope that was helpful. I hope I've given you the confidence to go out and convert your hub to studs if you got nothing else to do. And I will see you next time on Matt's Garage.